Happy Super Bowl Sunday, YouTube. Thomas L here. Now, since it is, of course, Super Bowl Sunday, I decided to do my top 10 favorite football. Now, here's the funny thing: I'm a sports guy. I barely watch sports. I barely sports and all. But you know what? I really do love a good sport movie. I think it's because like the aspects of it all and the inspiration behind it. I think that just gets me whenever I see these type of films. So, and there's been lots of really good football movies over the years. So, with that being said, here's my top 10 lists. Coming in at number 10 will be the 2005 remake of The Longest Yard. Now, of course, it's a remake of the Burt Reynolds classic, which is somewhere in my list. I'll get you that in a second. And of course, it stars Adam Sandler as a pro football quarterback named Paul Crewe, who pretty much lands in jail, and the warden there recruits him to advise the institution's team, and so he turns into like a lead, pretty much like a lead role quarterback for a crew of inmates in it, like a game against a team of prison guards. And in it, he pretty much meets a ex NFL coach played by Burt Reynolds, who of course was in the original. And I gotta say, this is really fun. I mean, it was directed by Sego, who recently just directed that not so good Jennifer Lopez movie, Second Act. Also, besides Adam Sandler, you've got Chris Rock, Nelly. Who else was in this? Oh yeah, Tracy Morgan was in this. Really funny film. I mean, it's not as good as the original, but pretty decent. Of course, I'm biased because I'm actually a big fan of Adam Sandler, and if you guys never seen the remake, check out The Longest Yard remake. It's pretty decent. Coming in at number 9 is Jerry Maguire. Now, this of course stars Tom Cruise as famed sports agent Jerry Maguire, who pretty much pens a heartfelt company-wide memo that promptly gets him fired. So, of course, he's desperate to hang on to the athletes that he represents, and so he starts his own management firm with the only single mother played by Renee Zellweger, who joins him in like a new venture. And they're pretty much banking on their sole client, who's like a football player played by Cuba Gooding Jr. And there's also like a love triangle that happens in this. It's pretty much it's everything that you want. It's a romance film and a football film all in ones. And I barely see many football/romance movies, and this one's a really good one. I mean, it's the film that won Cuba Gooding Jr. his first Oscar, and Cuba Gooding Jr. is no stranger to. Now, Cuba Gooding Jr. is no stranger to the football genre because he's in my top 10 that I'm gonna talk about later on. But anyway, yeah, I just simply love Jerry Maguire. It's really cute. It's charming. You even have Jonathan Lipnicki in this. Such a really good film. If you guys never seen Jerry Maguire, which of course was directed by Cameron Crowe, check out Jerry Maguire. It's really good. All right, coming in at number 8 is the original Longest Yard. Now, this is the one that starred Burt Reynolds, who of course appeared in the remake. Now, I recently just did my top 10 Burt Reynolds movie, and both the remake and original are actually in my top 10 list. I mean, it's a classic. This movie got released in 1974. I think 74 or 75. I know it came out in the 70s, around that time. It's really good. It's really fun to watch. I mean, it's also funny. Burt Reynolds was great. Yeah, I mean, if you guys never seen the original, definitely check that one out as well. Maybe do like a double header. Check out the original Longest Yard first, then check out the Adam Sandler one, because To me, they're both really good. Is The Blind Side. Now, of course, this starred Sandra Bullock as well as Quentin Aaron, Tim McGraw, Lily Collins, and in it, Quentin Aaron plays the role of Michael Orr, who's a homeless black teen who has drifted in and out of the school system for years. Then Sandra Bullock's character Lee Ann Tully and her husband, played by Tim McGraw, take him in, and so they eventually become his League of Guardians, transforming both his life and theirs. And with the help of his new family and tutors, he also realizes that he has a potential as both a student and a football player. It's fantastic. I mean, it's the movie that won Sandra Bullock her first Oscar. Sandra Bullock was terrific in this. Quentin Aaron was good. This is such an inspirational story. I mean, it's an amazing movie. If you guys never seen The Blind Side, definitely give this one a shot. Coming in at number 6 is now this has Cameron Diaz. Dennis Quaid was in this. Such a really fantastic cast. And in it, Al Pacino, plays a coach named D'Amato, who's pretty much who pretty much was at the top at the time, and so his team is struggling with a couple of losses, and so you also got Dennis Quaid as the quarterback named Jack Cat Rooney, who's off the field. Off the field, D'Amato, played by Pacino, is of course struggling with a failed marriage and estranged children, and is also on the collision course with Cameron Diaz's character, who becomes the young president and co-owner of the Sharks organization. It's really good. I mean, it was directed by Oliver Stone. He did a really good job with this. Good cast. Oh yeah, Jamie Foxx was in this too. Really good football movie. It's really inspirational. It's inspiring. Of course, Al Pacino gave probably one of the greatest movie speeches ever. Such a good football film. Now, of course, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember when first really enjoying when I first saw it. I mean, I gotta check this movie out again. I mean, it's been a while, to be honest with you, but it's definitely a good film. Coming in at number 5 is Varsity Blues. Now, this, of course, starred James Van Der Beek, Jon Voight. I think Amy Smart was also in this, too. Not to mention the late, great Paul Walker. This is a really fantastic movie. Star Harbor, who turns up injured, and so the Coyotes' ruthless coach, Bud Kilmer, played by Jon Voight, must promote bench warmer Jonathan Moxon, played by James Van Der Beek, to lead the team in its quest for the divisional title. And so, he's suddenly thrown in the spotlight. And this movie this movie celebrated its 20th anniversary in January. I mean, the movie still holds up. Lots of casts that ended up becoming bigger now. I mean, after Varsity Blues, Paul Walker, of course, went on to be in the Fast and Furious franchise. And of course, Jon Voight has always been around. He's a legend. And this film also came out around the same time that James Van Der Beek was, of course, on Dawson's Creek. But yeah, Varsity Blues it's a classic football movie. All right, coming in at number 4 is Friday Night Lights. Now, of course, they did the TV show Friday Night Lights, which premiered on NBC years ago. But the movie version. Sorry about that. I mean, it was directed by Peter Berg and also starred Billy Bob Thornton as the coach here. You even had Derek Luke, way before he played the principal on 13 Reasons Why. It's a really good one. I mean, it's also based on a book. I never really read the book, to be honest with you, but the movie is fantastic. Good performances by Billy Bob Thornton. The other cast was good. I mean, if you guys never seen the movie version of Friday Night Lights, definitely check this one out. And I also remember hearing words that we might begin like a reboot of Friday Night Lights, which is supposed to be directed by the guy who recently just put out the new Halloween. So I don't know if that would be as good as as the original Friday Night Lights, but the Billy Bob Thornton one is definitely amazing. All right, coming in at number 3 is Radio. Now, of course, Cuba Gooding Jr. was in Jerry Maguire, and years after Jerry Maguire, he appeared in the movie Radio. Radio is a fantastic movie. I mean, I used to watch this movie when I was just loads of times. It's really inspirational. You had Ed Harris as the coach here. You even had the great Alfred Woodard. And Radio is, of course, based on a true story. I mean, it is pretty heartbreaking, inspiration, I should say. It is pretty sad at times as well. I mean, you're going to want some tissues while you're watching this movie, to be honest, yeah. And I got to say, everyone will say that their favorite Cuba Gooding Jr. performance is in Jerry Maguire. My favorite has got to be his performance in Radio. He was that good in this movie. I mean, yeah, if you guys never had a chance to check out Radio, definitely give that one a go. It's a really amazing film. And funny enough is Ed Harris's character is named Coach Jones. When I was in high school when I went to high school, believe it or not, I also had a teacher there was also a coach there named Coach Jones, so found that pretty funny. Anyway, all right, coming in at number 2 is Remember. Now, of course, this stars Denzel Washington as the coach here. You had a young Ryan Gosling. Will Patton was in this. Really good film. And of course, it was about the 1971 high school football people of Alexandria. But when the local school board was forced to integrate an all-black school with an all-white school, they found the very foundation of football's greatest tradition was, of course, put to the test. I mean, this movie, believe it or not, it turns when 2020 gets here, we're going to be 20 years old. So you're going to feel old next year, by the way. And Denzel, I mean, I love him in this role. He plays the coach really well. I mean, he has some really good lines here, some very inspirational lines, if you ask me. It's really good. And the football scenes I thought was pretty cool and fun. I mean, I just really love Remember the Titans. And I mean, it was also released by Disney, so it's always nice to see when Disney makes a sports movie like this. And of course, they did such a good job with this film. I mean, if you guys have never seen Remember the Titans by now, definitely check this one out. All right, now my number 1 favorite football movie of all time is probably a no shocker. Number 1 is Rudy. Rudy, Rudy. That's an iconic line right there. I mean, of course, you have the great Sean Astin as the Tyro of Rudy, who, of course, wants to play football at the University of Notre Dame. But he has no money, has neither the money or nor the grades to qualify for a scholarship. And so he pretty much redoubles his efforts to get out of the steel mills where his father works, and of course his best friend, played by Christopher Reed, sadly dies in a accident, and so he pretty much overcomes his dyslexia thanks to his friend and tutor D. Bob, played by Jon Favreau. And so, of course, begins to fight a football team. It's inspirational. I mean, Sean Astin was great in this film. I mean, you even had Vince Vaughn and I mean Jon Favreau in this. I mean, of course, years later after Rudy got released, Jon Favreau became a high-profile director. Now, I mean, he has Lion King coming out. He did Iron Man. So, oh boy, Jon Favreau, he's still the man. Anyway, Rudy it's really iconic. I mean, of course, that line, the chant line, Rudy, Rudy, that's pretty much an iconic line in this movie. And I mean, if you guys never had a chance to check out Rudy, definitely give this one a go because it's amazing. All right, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, The Longest Yard, the one with Adam Sandler. Number 9, Jerry Maguire. 8, the original Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds. 7, The Blind Side. 6, Any Given Sunday, Varsity Blues. 4, Friday Night Lights. 3, Radio. 2, Remember the Titans. 1, Rudy. Now, there's loads of other ones I could have added. Let me pull up the list. Of course, The Replacements with Keanu Reeves is a classic. Brian's Song with James Caan is a good one. Concussion with Will Smith. Invincible with Mark Wahlberg is pretty good. Another Adam Sandler football movie, The Waterboy. The Game Plan with Johnson. Draft Day with Kevin Costner is a good one. Let's see. Ben Like Beckham is a soccer movie, so I have no idea why it's in the football. But let's see. We Are Marshall is pretty good. When the Game Stands Tall with Jim Caviezel's a good one. The Express, that one had Chadwick Boseman in it, by the way, before he played Black Panther. Gridiron Gang, also with The Rock. Little Giants, of course, the classic with The Damn United with Michael Sheen's a pretty decent one. Necessary Roughness. All the Right Moves, also with Tom Cruise. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite football movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Tom Sales signing off.